know, dude. It's for the first time ever.
I can't believe you came in and I can't believe this is the first time you're co-hosting.
Yeah, dude.
I for sure thought that had already happened.
Well, so no, I've just been here the most out of everybody or anybody. Eat your heart out, Cam. Yeah.
So you were saying, Cam was saying that Batman's better than Superman.
He was saying that Spider-Man is better than Batman. Now, listen. Batman is my favorite, so I am very biased.
Yeah.
And I do get all of the arguments towards him not being in the top because of his, not having powers thing. But to me, that's what makes him so badass. This is the same with what makes, like, the Punisher. The Punisher's more of an anti-hero, but,
Do you think Batman is the top non-power...
honestly, Spider-Man is number 2 to me. So it's like I'm either one.
He has power.
But he has powers. But his is more about the relatability. And then, of course, those two... To me, Spider-Man is Marvel's Batman. Because I feel like Batman is DC's most popular comic book character. Other than Superman, but I kind of disqualify him because... He has everything.
Yeah,
so they literally had to write weaknesses in.
Yeah.
Because it was a boring.
You wouldn't say that Iron Man is Batman?
No, if you're looking at similarities, then yes, Iron Man would be the playboy, the not having the powers, the money, rich, the money, the gadgets. Genius. But I just mean as far as like your poster boy for your brand, because Iron Man maybe now has taken over Spider-Man. Because of I think
Spider-Man's probably bigger still.
But Spider-Man's always been bigger, the biggest Marvel character.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the most media,
I didn't realize until you just said that Batman is probably the biggest DC. Like I don't think Superman is bigger than Batman. Like there's something that is so like you wanna champion Batman.
The human mind, the human race, we all are honestly have that darkness in all of us.
Yeah.
That's why so many people are interested in like true crime and the horror genre and scary stuff.
Yeah, he's got a wild story.
So when you base that character is based in basically, like if you played any of the Arkham games, you're playing a horror game basically. I mean, it's a comic book character game, but it's all the color, the color palette and things like that in the game. They're, all that, it's not bright and colorful. Like Superman's bright and colorful and cheery. Like, I'm Lex Luthor. I'm going to destroy the world, but I'm in a very vibrant robotic suit with a green glowing crystal. And here comes the man in red and blue, then it's all poppy and colorful and comic booky. But then you got Batman, and it's like dark and rainy, and it's grays and blacks and
he's
dark
a
purples.
grinder.
Yeah, well, even his villains, dark purples, things like that.
Yeah, they're criminals and they're insane. They're crazy. Mm-hmm. Like you might have that with Superman, but with Superman, it is like
everybody's like
polished.
That. Yeah, they're all that intelligent or that monster, right? Whereas Batman's dealing with people who are... he deals with monsters and stuff like that, but it's like... And Spider-Man is the same. The two best rogue galleries in comic book history would be Spider-Man and Batman, neck and neck.
You said rogue galleries?
Rogue galleries. That's what they call the villain.
Oh,
like the villain roster is a rogue gallery. Yeah, that is true.
It does have... You do have a lot of really cool... And I think, like, transitionally, Spider-Man, you probably have the most like pivots.
Yeah.
Because he's in so many fucking stories. Deadpool, Fantastic Four, like Avengers,
Spider-Man is one of those characters, and what makes him so popular is that he's a teenager. Yeah. In most of the canon. So he's relatable, he's juggling because he's not the rich playboy who's you're not going to relate to that, but you're relating to the kid that's trying to pay. Most of the times he's a teenager college student, so you're relating to trying to pay bills, trying to go after the girl of your dreams, and also on top of that, I'm a superhero.
and deal with Aunt May. Like she's now
family, yeah,
widowed,
right. And so
depending on the story.
with him, he's so because he's young, he can be the main character in a story, or he can be a side character. Like I don't feel like Batman's a very good side character because everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
I don't know why necessarily that translates that way, but whenever I mean that's just from me looking at it.
I think it's because Batman has a side character. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man doesn't have a side character. Like you might, depending on the comic, you might have like spin-offs where it's like a multiverse, or you have like Gwen or whoever. Like in the new movie, you have I can't remember his best friend's name, but he's like a smart kid as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about the new ones with Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah, he's kind of like the Oracle.
Yeah, so he kind of like helps.
Yes.
But I wouldn't necessarily call him a sidekick because he can't do anything whenever like a battle or something goes down. But Robin, you have that, or you have like a Catwoman type thing. Like Spider-Man doesn't really have Spider-Woman, or at least not that I'm aware of.
Hold on one second. Sorry, my grandfather texted me. He'll end up calling me if I don't respond.
It's okay.
1 second. Sorry, guys. It's about Thanksgiving turkey, so.
But I don't think there's I think that is why that dilemma happens where you have like Batman is the main guy, because Batman has a supporting cast typically. Even like with the Justice League, you have all these main characters in this thing, but Batman is like one of the only guys that I feel like has a tried and true step like character. Like a dude that can have his own story, but more often than not is just like your right hand man, the guy that deals with
right.
Whatever.
And I also I feel as if like that has a lot to do with it too. You know, the not having that side character because he that's why he can play the side character like to a Daredevil or to a Captain America or to an Iron Man.
Yeah, he plays the Iron Man thing really well.
Really well, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with the age probably too, because he's kind of placed as that. Yeah. You know, I'm still trying to learn myself as well as being a superhero.
Yeah, and then also on top of that, the Iron Man thing complements him very well because he can just improve on what Spider-Man already is.
Right.
Because of the technology.
Exactly. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. You know?
And then the rumor for the fourth one is like, I don't know exactly what the story itself is going to be, but I think Noel will be the main villain that'll be coming into the fourth Spider-Man. And then I think Venom might not really play a big role in it, but he'll get the symbiote suit.
Yeah, to try to... I don't know. I thought that they reset the universe, didn't they, in the last Spider-Man movie? Wasn't it like kind of like a hard reset? He walked away from the thing. I can't remember. I haven't watched
the
those.
very ending of it. That's the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, the very last one?
No, I think the last one's the one with the 3 Spider-Man where they...
Oh, that's right.
Where they all like did the thing, and then I believe that they reset the universe.
Maybe, but then,
to try to do his own thing.
But then we don't ultimately know who the big main villain's going to be, so we don't know what the storyline is. Because it was going to be Kang,
right?
But then Jonathan Majors has domestic abuse problems, so he's out of Marvel. Period.
Yeah. See, I feel like they should do someone they haven't done in this universe. Like Doc Ock would be a really good one for them to do, and I know they did that in Spider-Man 2, but that was probably like the best Spider-Man movie.
And he was in the very last Spider-Man as well.
He was there.
An alternate universe.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess, but if they do a hard reset, they could do Doc Ock, or they could do Scorpion's never been done on screen, and he's an interesting one. He's not like a staple, but
yeah, I had a Scorpion action figure, and for the longest time, because I didn't know comics, I thought he was Iron Man.
Really?
Because I saw the Iron Man, and I would see Scorpion in the 1997 Marvel cartoons, but I was just like, yeah, that's that, because I didn't know that much about it. But he was such a cool little action figure. But I know they have Rhino in the new Kraven one. And I haven't seen that. Obviously, it's not out yet.
I'm so sorry to be rude, guys. Let me just send this number to my grandpa so he
fine,
can. Dude. Yeah, no. It's so funny because like I see that happen with my sons. Like they'll have toys of things and they don't know what it is and stuff. And like, yeah, same here. You remember the movie Small Soldiers?
Yes.
They
I don't remember any of their names.
all I remember is they're the Gorgonites, and then they were the soldiers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Archer was the dog looking dude. That's what I remember. But there
He's
was
the
a
main guy.
monster looking
There's a
one.
UFC guy that looks like him.
Yes, there is. Yeah, they made
Unfortunately.
the thing.
But the action figure from Small Soldiers, or Toy Soldiers, Small Soldiers, that's that Eminem song. But I did have a Rhino thing at the same time I had the Scorpion action figure.
Yeah, I never had the Rhino. I did have some cool. I had the one from the Toy Soldiers. I didn't have any of the Toy Soldiers. I had the Argonaut, or not the Argonaut, the Archer guy, the one that looks like a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
And then, good God, guys. And then, this is a disaster already, having me on as a co-host. How great am I?
Just call him real quick.
No, that's cool. I just text him to call Taylor and deal with
Okay.
it. He's trying to drop a turkey off. Taylor's home alone. I'm just trying to scramble it. So,
Word.
of course I drove here. It took me like 35 minutes to get here. And
Couldn't have happened then.
no,
It's fine, dude.
it's so funny how fate works like that. But
Dude, it is what it is.
yeah, I don't know how many viewers we're really going to get nerding out about comic books here.
I mean, it's a different topic. We don't normally talk about this. I mean, we could talk about whatever, but like,
yeah.
I mean, you're the most viewed guest probably by now because of the most episodes. So
hey, man, you know what? It's gonna
Hey,
do. Hey, that
numbers.
last episode was kind of crazy, wasn't it? Feeding
Yeah,
off
yeah.
a homeboy there.
yeah, I don't know. We should never have that guy back on. Logan's cool, but like the suit guy, I don't know. That dude's like a little loose.
Hey, man, he did you hear that Logan did whatever show it was a few months back, and for David Lucas, where he was on the judge panel, and freaking David Lucas was in his DMs at the end of the night. Like, as far as like, hey, you, if I'm in town, like, you
Open
come
for
by.
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Isn't that cool?
I think he dropped a story talking about that, but I did see like David Lucas was like about his.
It's really cool to see because like, it's cool to see it in something other than like the fighting world of like what I do.
Yeah.
Like, cause like I've seen when I was first coming up, it was really all like when you would see someone burst through that little barrier or get recognized or see the big names. But now I'm so kind of hard skinned in the game where
You're not necessarily jaded, but you're like,
Right.
I've seen this story.
right, exactly.
it.
And so it's cool to see the same thing with a different not even a sport, because you're used to that. You're used to seeing that. I'm used to at least around here, I can't think of any, and forgive me anybody watching, but I can't think of any like musicians from the area that are like that aren't like from way long ago, or you can think of athletes all the time coming from this area. So it's cool to think of like born and raised here. He's got a really hot on fire, comic at the time telling him, "Hey man, you're funny, keep it up, doing great." It's really cool to see because he was working with, my company when he did his first open mic. I remember him telling me in the truck, I think I'm gonna try this, and his jokes were terrible.
Yeah.
And now he's really dove into that, and it's cool to see that.
Yeah. It's also crazy to come out of like I've been to a stand-up show here locally where it was just an open mic. It's crazy to come out of that because typically in those crowds there's not a lot of people, or at least this was a while ago when I saw anything. But for you to rise out of that, and I know now the scene's bigger than it was when I was watching stand-up locally, but it is crazy to see the culture growing because there's open mics everywhere. There's improv going on. There's like comedy packs of people that do like film and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like, I don't have a foot in the game as far as comedy goes, in the sense of like, it's just not something I have the time to pursue. But when I did the open mics, there was really nobody. Sometimes there was 10 people, and if there was 10 people there that weren't even there to watch the comedy, but were just in the room, then it was like, oh, cool, that's a lot of people. So, I did get to do it in front of Larry's place, so it was like 200 people. So like
Which is crazy.
that's pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
I bombed the second time I did it because I didn't practice, and you don't think that things need practice. The timing, the pace, well, I guess the pacing and timing are the same thing, but see, like even that,
Yeah.
not being redundant and
Well, timing is different than pace. Like pace is like you're going at a pattern kind of thing, but like timing is like when do I do the thing?
Yeah.
When do I hit the line?
Because like some of the jokes were okay that I said, but there was no practice, so I couldn't play with the delivery. I didn't, and there was a lot of nervous energy, and it's very similar to like fighting, which is like the only thing I know to compare it to. But that nervous energy and stuff, and the more you're always going to have that nervous energy no matter what, but the more you practice under that nervous energy, the easier it is to swallow or deal with.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of my fighters now, Jacob, he was asking me, are you scared when you fight, or were you scared when you fight? And I'm like, fucking yeah. Like, it's fucking terrifying. What do you mean am I scared? He was like, yeah, I just he's like, does it ever get any easier? And I'm like, if you start winning and people like you, no.
Yeah.
Not at all. For me,
I think maybe like
you just learn how to process it, and you learn how to deal with it.
Yeah. And it probably changes. I don't know maybe exactly what he was asking, but I wonder if maybe he's asking like, are you ever afraid of your opponent? I think more so your nervousness can be disguised as like fear.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can get caught up in there being an opponent. But I think, and I've never fought, of course, but like in jiu-jitsu, like the lead up to the competition, I'm not so much worried about the opponent. I'm like, there's a deadline. We're going to find out right then moment.
Mm-hmm.
That is the thing I'm most nervous about. I'm not so much nervous about the dude's going to smash me.
It's just, yeah, I mean.
It's like, this is my moment to prove what I've been doing to myself is worth it. Like, this is me proving to me I put in the work.
Yeah.
And this will show if it's true.
Well, exactly. Like, the thing with
like, have you ever gone into a fight, and I didn't mean to interrupt you,
good.
but like, have you ever gone into a fight where you're legit scared of the opponent more than you are of the moment? Where you're like, damn, this dude is fucking legit.
Yes and no. So, like, it's always kind of been that way. Like, but it doesn't matter the caliber of the guy. It's the fact that there's the guy.
Yeah.
So I fought Dakota Merritt twice, and he's a very big guy. He's like 6'7" or something crazy, and looks like a fucking statue. You know what I mean? So
he looks like a Viking.
Yeah, and so like I fought him twice, and yeah, well the guy for sure. I mean, but at the same time, it's the thought process of just doing the action of combat, and it's nerve-wracking because it's like I don't want to I don't want to make a mistake and end up being embarrassed is the best way to put it, because all these fighters say what they want to say, and they we're going. I'm gonna die in there, and I'm gonna do this. And yes, it's very dangerous, and it is within the realm of possibility to die inside the cage. I'm very aware of that, but I'm also very aware that there have been probably 1 million or 2 million fights across the globe in mixed martial arts, and there's yet to be a death recorded in the ring or cage or whatever. Didn't
Dada 5000 die in the cage?
I think he died. I think he died out of the cage. I think he went into cardiac arrest after the fight because he was
lived, but
and he was because he was able. I mean, yeah. So there's been deaths because of weight cutting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is literally crazy because you're knowingly doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like it accidentally happens. I mean, of course, the act of the death accidentally happens, but like. That is the consequence of what you're actually doing.
Yeah, you know that you're dancing with death, essentially. Like, you're.
Can you imagine the feeling of like, you're like, yo, I think I'm getting pretty close, and then feeling your body being like, yo, you got too close.
Yeah.
And it's giving up, and you're like, oh
no.
fuck.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's gotta be insane.
It's I mean, really, the weight cutting thing is just, I mean, you could do a whole podcast and everybody all talks about that. It's kind of crazy, but I myself am guilty of it. So
I think everybody that's done anything athletically in the combat realm, how is that not the most like enticing performance enhancer in your mind? Everybody thinks if I'm lighter, I'm bigger to that size, but then everybody is doing that.
Yeah. So then it becomes
Get better. And I know that's easy to say, just get better at what you do and then fight the people in your weight class. But again, even then, you're gonna have bigger guys coming down to you.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Why if you really think about it, in UFC terms at least, I guess even boxing, but boxers aren't known for cutting a whole lot of weight. They stay within, because the weight classes are like every 8 pounds, I think. And so, but with the UFC, like the heavier weights are known for being able to be older.
Yeah.
And my just bro science hypothesis about that is like, hey, the heavyweights aren't having to cut weight. They're not having to put their body through that torture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're slower, but what does slower have to do with being able to fight longer? Yeah, they hit harder. What does that have to do with being able to fight longer? Maybe it's the correlation of like, and Glover Teixeira, Randy Couture was able to win championships at 205 and heavyweight. Well, he wasn't really a heavyweight. He had to cut 20 pounds. 20 pounds isn't that dangerous to cut if you have the 20 pounds to cut.
You mean to get to 205? Yeah.
Right.
Not heavyweight.
No.
He could have ate for years.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He had to cut 20 pounds to get to 205, because I think he weighed in at like he might have just been 15 pounds at 220 or whatever, but
and even then, his stature, he could have just been eating like super clean and been 205 easy.
Yes.
He's not a big guy.
No, he's not. And so, you know what I mean? Like it would go without saying, because the speed, of course, I guess the speed is a factor when it comes to the younger folks. But I'm just saying, like, even the older guys are beating younger guys in the heavyweight division, in the light heavyweight division. Glover was beating guys 12 years his young, or his junior, right? And so, I feel like that's a lot of it. I feel like guys are really depleting themselves, and they're putting this long-term harm on their body, and they're not able to,
I think that part of that like depletion has got to be the dehydration of your body or your brain. Like that. Like I think that's why when we see people in lighter weight classes feel like they fall the fuck off from like a hot streak, and then maybe they get decisioned or knocked out, and then it just seems like they never are the same.
Like Renan
Barão, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You got Alexander Volkanovski right now. Not saying he's going to continue losing. I think he's going to be fine.
Right.
But it's like when something like that happens, you need to take the time off and really see what your body needs.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's going up a weight class, or maybe even two, depending on how crazy your cuts are, do that. Like, see what's up there. And you being healthier, you'll be able to do it longer, make more money, be better health overall in the long term, in my opinion. Again, bro science.
Yeah.
But that's like what
it also feels like it's common sense, though. Hey, my brain is more hydrated. I can probably take more impact. I can probably be safer.
Yeah.
My spinal fluid is probably not as dehydrated, because the fluid's fluid. You're draining your body of all your fluids, and so, I mean, some of these guys get so drained they can't even cry, because like they can't even sweat. They're so, and that's a lot on the body. So they, I mean, yeah, I don't feel like it's as bro science as it sounds, just because we're saying that to save ourselves. But
yeah, it's because we don't have legit
sense.
Facts or whatever.
Right.
This is something I've learned recently, and maybe this is common sense to like a majority of people, but I didn't know this so much. Is typically when you have a headache, a big portion of that is more than likely you're dehydrated. Mm-hmm. I had no idea about that. I thought like, yeah, drinking helps, but like more so get medicine.
Yeah, well, it's the blood vessels constricting or something like that, because you're dehydrated. That's a lot of times for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that is going to be the only fix if you have like chronic headaches or you have like severe migraines or something, but definitely stay better hydrated. will always help. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you can take a punch better. T.J. Dillashaw showed that. He got knocked out in like 20-something seconds because he was on death's door.
Yeah, I mean, even him fighting at 145 looks crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you are a fucking... And now look at him. I think he's like 180.
Yeah.
And he is fucking... Huge. I mean, huge for him.
No, he's pretty huge.
Yeah,
he's pretty huge. He's...
dude, speaking of TJ, have you seen Cody's face recently?
The cross or the sword tattoo?
Oh my god, dude. Cody Garbrandt got this fucking...
Hey, listen.
It almost looks like a clown...
CTE is real.
What is it? Is it a sword through his eye?
It's like a dagger, yeah.
Oh my god. Like it's crazy because, like, not into dudes, but aesthetically, he looked pretty good with the tattoos.
Yeah,
the way he was shaved,
for sure. He was like
the beard, clean cut. He kind of got that, like, suave Italian kind of thing going on because it was such a clean cut.
He ruined. Yeah, he ruined.
And then the fucking... Oh my god, bro. Like, you've coined your... I think you've narrowed down, like, the type of people you can be around now.
Yeah.
You know, because, like...
weird. I mean, I'm not going to body shame or whatever because, you know, we've all got tattoos and stuff, but...
I'm not going to date somebody with a fucking dagger through their eye. Yeah. No offense.
Yeah.
Again, not into guys, but, like, if I'm dating a girl, I'm not going to...
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you were... And now I'm worried about your decision-making skills.
Yeah, the face is just... That's a hard sell. It's a hard sell. There are some things...
I get it if it's, like, right in front of the ear. Like, my buddy Casey has a little...
That's the side of the head, though. I don't consider that the face.
I would never even do that. I'm so nervous about that. Like, maybe in your hairline tattoos, that's fine.
See, I would get a tattoo on my skull where I could, like, grow my hair out or whatever. I would do that, you know. But as far as my face... I mean, just because there's so many, you know, I'm not in his position. Maybe he's like, dude, fuck it. I don't have any reason not to tattoo my face. But
it just doesn't even look good, though.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm like, do your thing, dude. You have your own businesses.
You should get a shield on this side. Same way, though. So just
the 3 points. This is my thing. Is like,
and then
it takes a very, very specific person to pull it off. Post Malone looks great on him because that's just
Lil Wayne.
That's what we know. Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
you got Gucci. You got a lot of people that you're like, that's like you can't even imagine them without it.
Yeah.
You know, Cody, we've seen you without it for so long, and now that you have it, you kind of come off like an ICP kid.
Yeah.
You know, you come off like a juggalo. Like you're like, what is going on with it?
It is weird. You know, this is going to be really left field, but it reminds me because like. I've always liked tattoos, always wanted them from the moment I saw a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, tattoos probably make you look better. But you know who I saw a tattoo on, this is years and years ago when they first started getting them, that I was like, no, absolutely not. Chris Jericho. Do you remember when Chris Jericho, you know who I'm talking about, the wrestler? You know, he didn't have tattoos forever. I mean, until, like, I don't know when, and I had stopped watching wrestling by the time I was in high school or like 9th or 10th grade. I had stopped watching wrestling and he didn't have them. So it's like, it was after that where I saw him and he's got like almost a sleeve tattoo. You know what I mean? And
really?
Like he's got the tattoo on his hand, like and I was just like, no, dude,
I guess I haven't noticed because I, you know, don't
he
really
looks, it just, but, and
anymore.
I'm pretty sure. Because he's got Fozzy on him on his arm. They're cool tattoos. Don't get me wrong. Like they look good. It's just when you have that image of like 15 years, this guy's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I can't tell if he has 2 sleeves or 1 because it only shows 1 arm this entire time.
You know.
But, he has 1 full sleeve. Yeah.
It's the same with like. It took a long time for me to get used to Randy Orton, but he already had tattoos. And
but when he first came out, he only had like 1.
Yeah,
it was like a little.
But he got him kind of the way the Undertaker did. And he introduced him.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a shock.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shock. Like there was
like
1
Cody's.
tattoo, then there's 2, and it just like morphs in there, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. It wasn't a shock.
Cody Rhodes out of nowhere just boom
on the neck,
and it's his wrestling logo.
Listen, on the neck, brother, dude, on the neck.
It is a wild thing. Also,
for your first tattoo, that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
On the neck for your first tattoo.
Also, I will say about the Jericho thing, it's always kind of I don't know how to read it when it happens, but when somebody gets their sleeve, I guess he finally finished it. But when they start their sleeve and it's like mid bicep and it's down, kind of is weird to me. Because in rocking a tank top, it's like, what's going on with the empty space up there? I don't like the empty space I have now when I wear a tank top, and I'm like, I gotta get that filled soon.
Yeah, I got a lot of empty space here that drives me nuts, but it's just like it's whatever,
Yeah.
Jericho, from what I understand, he probably what happened is Vince was notoriously against tattoos. He almost fired the Undertaker over it.
But then you look at somebody like Randy Orton. He had gotten sleeves under Vince McMahon while that whole thing was going on. But
people like Randy aren't going to ask permission. They're going to do it. And Randy Orton is Randy motherfucking Orton, and he's a legend and he's the son of a legend and the son of a legend. Is he 3? I think he's a third generation. Yeah. So he's Randy fucking Orton. He ain't going to do nothing.
Yeah. What is your take, since we're talking about wrestling a little bit? It's John Cena's final year. What is your take on the whole breaking the 16-time championship Ric Flair supposedly has? But then if you talk to him, he says it's really 21. So it doesn't matter if John Cena holds the title again. He's not going to break my streak. But only, I guess, 16 of them are recognized or something?
Yeah, something like that. The NWA, so if you want to be honest, Ric Flair's not a 16-time WWE champion.
He's just a 16-time
world champion. Yeah. So Cena would set the record for being a 16. He's never won a world championship anywhere other than the WWE.
Yeah, so who else holds the 16 though?
Oh, no, Ric Flair has always been coined as the 16-time world champion because before the NWA was around, and they were like they weren't
a territory.
They were a territory, but they were more of like a sanctioning body for multiple territories. And so the territories would come to them, whether it be Mid-South, Deep South, Blue Collar River, whatever the hell, all these different territories would come to them to get their world titles or to get their titles to make it seem more cohesive, to try to make it
more united,
still united, and still seem like a legitimate sport, you know. And so that's why you had all the NWA world champion situation, and so that's what they're kind of counting Ric Flair's things for. Ric Flair may have won world championships in organizations that didn't have an affiliation with the NWA, but they may not count that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though. I've never been a Ric Flair fan.
Also,
he's always gotten on my nerves. I've always
Hulk. I
don't like Hulk Hogan either.
Yeah. I've always wondered what signifies or what gives the legitimacy to a championship time. Like a run with the championship. Yeah, like what if you lose it at a house show? Is that considered you losing the run, or is that
no? So they do that a lot actually
because they're practicing.
Right, they'll do that a lot. They'll lose at a house show. Sometimes on the next house show they'll win it back. Yeah, and sometimes it won't even go on the record. Sometimes
they do it to see what the crowd's reaction to see if this is the right direction.
Right, and then but other times, they will change it on a house show and not on TV to punish somebody. It's crazy because I'll watch these because I am a fan, especially of the lore and the stories behind. Especially because my sons are getting into it. I'll sit back and watch some of the classic matches with them and stuff. But for the most part, I listen to interviews with Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff and the people that were in the back writing the stories and dealing with that, and them telling interactions and ideas that they had and things like. I mean, I fill my head with that nonsense all the time.
There's a bunch of wrestling podcasts I listen to.
They're amazing. I listened to one yesterday, Something to Wrestle With, and it had JBL on, who I was always a big fan of JBL, just because well, obviously I wasn't, I guess not always. When I was growing up watching it, I hated him, but
you always respected him as a wrestler.
As I understood what wrestling was, then I'm like, oh damn, that dude's a friggin' genius. Yeah,
it's wild that you'll watch something and it doesn't have to be wrestling, but you can include wrestling. If somebody captivates you and makes you feel a feeling, they are good at what they do. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you like that character. You have to own. There's so many movies that you'll watch where you're like, I hope this motherfucker dies. I hope they
Yeah.
kill him, and he's just
Gosh,
he's just an actor playing a fucking part, and it could be a true story, and then
Yeah.
you're like, you really want the real guy to die or whatever, but like, you'll like JBL hated him,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's a reason why I hate him, but I know we just said this, but the Ric Flair Hulk Hogan thing, it's not.
You were supposed to
characters.
love them.
Yeah, I really didn't like them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the difference, right? Because with JBL, people like JBL, people like there's some other, I can't think of names.
William Regal.
William Regal, great heel. So to play it, here's one thing, because I was listening, and we'll get into this, of course, with the Jones and the Stipe and the Paul and the Tyson and all that shit. But
ass out, double cheek though,
dude, bro, that was crazy.
Crazy.
That was crazy.
Anyway.
But like, here's the thing, you know, we'll get into that. But they like, where was I going with that? With the cheeks out, sidetracked me.
Sorry,
It's okay.
it sidetracked a lot of people.
I'm sure it did.
I think that you have to have a convincing character, and if you don't, your character can fall flat. Go ahead.
Well, so there's a lot of people and like channels and stuff that do a lot of criticisms, and we mentioned one the other day talking like the MMA on Point or whatever, and they make amazing points. And I feel like sometimes though, and I'm not just calling them out, but they did say something that I was just like, what? And the same with some of these wrestling podcasts or pundits, and they'll say something and they'll be like, well, this was stupid, or this was dumb, or this was, but it's like, how much do you really understand the logic of what he's doing? Because I do, and I enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. So either I'm that much of a mark for what he's doing, or you know, I understand and what I mean by that is them saying JBL's character, a lot of people didn't like his reign because he never really beat any of the challengers clean. It was always interference. It was always
part of it.
That's what made it so great. He was such a chicken shit. It was like, I'm gonna beat you up,
and it's
guys.
Tried and true. It's not like he invented this.
No, exactly.
That has happened. Like, I mean, lie, cheat, steal.
Yeah,
Eddie Guerrero. That is literally, that was, even if you didn't like the character, the song, the low rider.
It was my all-time favorite.
Dude,
Eddie
the fucking hitting
favorite.
people in the face with the belt, throwing it to them and acting like you got hit. All that
Genius.
shit. It's so clever, and it's like, you know, he's probably going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fact that, you know, this is leading up to this. I don't really feel like there's that right now in wrestling.
No.
There's no character like that. There's like a MJF.
Right.
Like, he does a really good, like, you hate him because he thinks he's better than you, and he knows it, kind of thing. But there's people that tell really good stories that maybe don't wrestle as good as they talk.
Exactly. They were talking about that in the podcast. They were saying, JBL was saying what made Eddie so great was that he could tell a story, body language, tell a story, tell a story through the match, and he could wrestle very technically.
So good,
dude. He's my all-time. Like, he's probably my number one.
Yeah, if you're taking in literally everything in at the same time, at his peak, I don't know if anybody did all of it at the same time that well in a package. People will argue like, well, you got CM Punk, he's so good. Yeah, but he doesn't wrestle that good. Like,
no, he really doesn't.
He might wrestle good enough to sell a show because he's got another guy that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, CM Punk talks way better than Drew. Drew got really good at trolling recently, but I wouldn't say he's that great on the mic. And I love Drew.
Yeah.
I don't like CM Punk as like a character before he left. Like, when he was doing his thing, I didn't like it.
Right.
He left. I liked the idea of like the underdog for a long time, and then he finally comes back. And I like the idea of like, he can kind of disrupt things a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love how good he can dish it out. And he can take a little bit of it, but he can dish it out better than most people.
Yes.
And really good wrestlers can't talk that great sometimes. And you'll see them get it fucking smoked on the mic against him. And you're like, that motherfucker kind of got it.
Yeah.
You know? And you love to see that.
And so that's what people are comparing to the MMA world with, like, the Connors, who's very smooth on the mic and he can deliver. And like that's why some of the guys, like, you know, it's very rare because, like,
some of the
Hulk
Hulk
Hogan, terrible wrestler, terrible wrestler, it's terrible. Not even that great on the mic, but back then it's just he was what they needed, and I am thankful for him because, You know, like I said, I enjoy it, but like you had great guys.
Terrible on the mic. Rey Mysterio, great wrestler.
Great wrestler.
One of the best of literal all time.
Yes.
I think Jeff Hardy, amazing. Terrible on the mic, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, he is.
Like, but you knew he comes out, he's willing to leave his body out there.
Matt Hardy, mid wrestler.
Mid.
Not terrible.
Yeah.
Not great. Pretty okay. Pretty decent on the mic, especially the back half of his career with the broken thing.
Which is,
but he also had the genius too with the version 1 and the like knowing. That's another thing of it too, knowing when to capitalize. You know who else was great? You know who else was hit or miss wrestler? So he was a good wrestler, hit or miss. Mike, hit or miss. The Undertaker, legend, love him.
I was like, who's Mike?
No, but like on the mic,
yes.
He's hit or miss. Some of his matches suck ass. Great wrestler. I mean, he's in my top.
Yeah. The Undertaker literally wrestles in the way that most comedians should live, like when they do stand-up, and that's like, let the silence breathe.
Yes.
He does best when he doesn't say anything at all, and he just shows up and does his thing. I think the best speaking skills he ever had was as the American Badass or Big Evil.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But when he was the biker, that to me, because the whole like Limp Bizkit blowing up, that being your motorcycle, like all that was like when Stone Cold was like kind of, because he had been injured, he's coming out. Then you kind of have somebody stepping into that like
that badassy, that rebel, like, rebel,
And even though he wasn't as good, he also had the ability to be able to play with the comedy a little bit. So you at the time you had Kurt Angle, which was such an easy punching bag.
Dude.
Underrated.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's in the top.
Gotta be.
Kurt Angle on A+ on the mic, A+ in the ring.
Yeah. I think and it's crazy, I think he's just as good as Eddie, but the comedy was different, but they both had a lane for it.
So Eddie's comedy was the
romantic almost.
That romantic, like, it was the goofy, but like that badass goofy, whereas Kurt Angle's was the goody two shoes goofy, or
the joke's over on him.
Yes.
But Eddie felt like he was making the joke.
He was and they were good. And you know, Kurt was great, dude. I mean, and I feel really, I'm like so sad that he went to TNA for 10 years. Now he had some of his best matches in TNA, but just imagine the matches we could have gotten with Angle. Dude, oh my god.
What's crazy too is like, yes, we don't have anybody that's on that level. Like, I feel like comedy really isn't in WWE anymore. You have R-Truth, but R-Truth has one thing Eddie had, and that's comedy.
I've never cared for R-Truth.
I'm just saying, like, the crowds feel like they crack the fuck up because he does these things, like kind of like the paper with Edge and Kurt.
Yeah,
like it's so like funny. You suck and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, like, I do suck.
But R-Truth does that with Miz, and it's like Miz might be comedic or because he's playing the hard to the
Unfortunately, too, I feel like they recycle too many storylines.
It's too obvious.
It's too obvious.
You see it coming from a fucking... The bloodline. That is never going to finish.
No.
Never.
No.
That's going to go for the rest of fucking time, and it's just like, how are we going to get the belt back off Cody, and then we're going to run with the bloodline for a little bit too. And it's like, you're never going to breed brand new stars. You'll breed people within the bloodline, which is fine. It's a great family. Not at all. And that's not being like, you can't let somebody else. But you have people that are up and coming, like Braun Breaker, or like, eventually I think MJF is going to make the jump to WWE, because it's like Chandler.
Yeah.
Mike Chandler making the jump from Bellator to UFC. It's like, you're doing great over there. Like, you do great work over there, and Michael Chandler didn't really have a talk until he came to the UFC, and then he's like all of a sudden talking a lot.
Yeah.
But I think MJF is one of their best stars, period, because the character is so good. He is a heel that is a babyface most of the time.
Right.
Because you love the fucking smell your own farts feel of him. He's like...
That's kind of how Orton got. That's why he was so popular, is because like they tried him at babyface and he was terrible because he's naturally an asshole.
Yeah. I wish he would go back to that run he had with Undertaker where it's like he's purely evil. Like, I like how he is now, and I love that he's able to talk to the crowd and be like, come on, guys, you know this dude sucks kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, Go back to be a little more evil.
Go back to your yeah, dude. It sucks he's a legend now because the Legend Killer was his best gimmick.
Also, it's crazy the shape of his body for all of time. I mean, he's always been in great shape, but for him to keep getting bigger and still look great.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he leaned out for a long time. Had like a swimmer's body almost. Like
it was crazy.
Judging male bodies over here.
But now, when he recently...
Yeah, now he's like swole. See, I haven't watched any recent other than I watched WrestleMania and I watched Bad Blood. I watched 2 matches on that one. And but other than that, I keep up with the memes and the reels, and so I've seen him, and he's all. Yeah.
It's so tough because you have to watch so many hours a week. You have to watch if you're keeping up with all of wrestling.
Yeah.
It's impossible to do that and MMA unless that's like your job. But you're talking like, what is it? 2 hours on Monday, 3 hours on Friday, and then you got AEW. You have NXT.
Yeah.
You have all these things, and AEW has multiple shows. It's not like they have one show.
Right.
And I'm not saying they do bad work, but it's like you got to pick and choose the storylines you're actually tuning into.
Mm-hmm.
That's why YouTube is such a fucking dream because
yes.
a lot of the real important stuff makes it to YouTube.
Yeah, well, I watch Cultaholic.
Yeah, Cultaholic.
And I get a lot of information from them. I love Cultaholic.
It's dope. I cannot fucking remember this dude's name for whatever reason, but he has the podcast. Is it Chris Van Fleet? Or
not sure. Oh yeah. He does all this.
He's so fucking knowledgeable.
Listen,
he's so good.
He reminds me, and he even sounded like him for a minute. And I thought, so that podcast I mentioned earlier, the Something to Wrestle With, it's with this guy named Conrad Thompson. Have you ever heard of it?
That sounds familiar.
Conrad Thompson. He's the one that started almost all of these legends out with their own podcasts. He started out with Bruce Pritchard. And then he did Eric with the 52 weeks, and he did Grilling with JR, and then he did or 82 weeks, or 83 weeks.
I'm gonna look this up while you're talking.
Then he did Grilling with JR, and then he kind of I don't know if he set him up.
What was it, Wrestling With?
It's called Something to Wrestle With. Just put STW, it'll probably pop up.
STW, Something to Wrestle With.
It's really good. It has Bruce Pritchard, Vince's right hand man since the fucking 90s. That's the guy that played Brother Love with the red face.
Yeah, I thought you said Conrad.
It's Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. Conrad's the co-host.
Okay.
And Conrad's
so he's just never in the thumbnail.
Yeah, Conrad will be not anymore. But if you go to that one that aired yesterday,
that one,
yeah, you'll see him. Save with Conrad. But anyways, he started a lot of stuff with these guys or helped them get there, and then now they're doing it on their own. But that's JBL. This is a whole episode dedicated to Eddie Guerrero, but that guy.
That's Conrad Thompson.
That's Conrad Thompson. Yeah.
He looks familiar, but maybe he's looking different than he normally does.
I'm Conrad Thompson. And he he helped JR have his own podcast. JR's got a great podcast. That's another great one to listen to because again, he was the head of talent relations for fucking 40 years. So
crazy.
You know what I mean? So he's getting to deal with the things that we want to hear about, the backdoor dealings and the.
That's why I love listening to Jim Cornette.
Dude, fucking Jim Cornette is the best because he's unhinged. He is unhinged. Bruce is good, but Bruce will hush on some shit because he still works. But he's still very open about things, and he's funny. I like Bruce, and but yeah, Jim Cornette, I cannot get enough of him. He's like. This dumb fucking Tweedledee son of a bitch. He's like, yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so cool looking back on the stuff that you even knew when you were a child. Like, I'm probably watching this and I'm like 10 at the time because this is probably 99 or 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And even then I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I watch back now and I'm still like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, there's so many moments they have where it was just cool as shit. It's like, man, and,
dude, the beer truck, which is cool, and then Kurt Angle to do the milk truck thing.
Oh yeah,
bro.
Then Eddie Guerrero doing the sewage truck on the Big Show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, dude. I mean, but see, that's the way to
wash and repeat thing. But that was cool.
But that's different though.
Yeah.
Right, that's different. Kurt Angle didn't come out with a beer truck, or JBL didn't come out with a beer truck from when he was with the APA. You know what I mean? Kurt Angle came out with a milk truck, so
APA.
Yeah, dude.
That is it's probably super frowned upon now. You're talking about a boys' club that's gambling and talking about
yeah.
Hooters or
Yeah,
puppies.
and getting hired to protect people, dude.
Yeah.
It was awesome back then.
But it's like it was so edgy, or it felt like it was
but
so
it could
like
be. It could be because now social media and everything is everywhere, and everybody's got to be in the know. And more so than ever, everybody wants to be the guy to tell you the secret,
yeah.
the magician's trick. I saw the card up the sleeve. That's how he's doing it, and it's, it's like no shit. I don't want to go to watch the Terrifier 3 and me sit there and watch it and go, oh my god, this is. Have you heard anything about the Terrifier 3?
No.
Apparently it's really awful, so I haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's like really good, but he's like kills kids in this movie. It's pretty.
Oh, word, yeah.
So,
I mean,
but what I'm saying
I
is
see the
like,
character. It just doesn't look appealing to me.
it doesn't need me. Well,
And
when
like
I was
the idea
younger,
of people breaking it down, they're saying like, "Oh, he's cool," but then as soon as he frowns at you, you're dead. And I'm like, so you can be cool around a serial killer? And
well, my thing is, I went through the phase of where I liked all the gore and the crazy stuff. It's whatever, but not so much anymore, man. Like I've watched all the Saws and I've done all this thing in the Hostels and the human centipedes and all that thing. But now that I'm older, I'm just kind of like, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to waste 2 hours on just watching a bunch of body parts fly around whenever, I don't know. I don't know.
Cause I'll nostalgic things. Like I'll watch Scream.
Friday the 13th Scream, but they're all story driven.
Yeah.
Which I know there's story to the Terrifier, but the main goal of the Terrifier is to push the envelope with the gore. But my point of bringing him up is you don't watch the Terrifier and him chopping up these kids in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and go to your buddy and go, hey, don't worry, man, this is fake, bro. This is all fake. You ain't gonna worry. This is fake. This is stupid because it's fake.
Yeah.
No, you're there to suspend the disbelief, and you're just like, oh my god, I cannot believe this evil motherfucker's doing this. No, dude, he's not doing this. It's fake, bro.
Yeah.
It's fake. So it's like, why do you got to do it with this? It's the same thing. It's not. Yeah, they're acting like badasses because a lot of them are badasses. They could probably beat the fuck out of a lot of different people.
Oh yeah.
Not a trained fighter, but you know what I mean. But it's
Which
okay.
is wild because they tried to blur the lines.
Yes.
I can't remember what WrestleMania it was, but they did the
Floyd Mayweather with fucking.
No, I mean even then that's another
the Brawl
blur
for All
line.
15.
Yeah, the Brawl for All, where they legitimately had fights.
Yeah, and people got hurt because they weren't trained. Because people don't think about the conditioning. Like they make. God, he was excellent. He's an underrated GOAT.
Oh, dude, the first
Money in the Bank.
Well, what would you call it? I can't remember what they called it.
He came up with that.
But the 2 belts.
The undisputed, yeah. First undisputed champion.
Yeah. And he had that over Triple H.
Yeah.
Over every big name at the time, which is insane to think about.
Do you ever listen to any of his stories? Oh, they're so great.
Some of them.
Where he's like, he'll be at these like WrestleFest or whatever, talking on a stage.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. He tells the story of how he learned he was going to be the first undisputed champion.
How was that?
He said they were in catering, and Vince was talking to the Undertaker, and he was like, "Hey, Undertaker, you know how I know the business is going to shit?" And he's like, "How, Vince?" And he said, "We're throwing the belt on Jericho," and then started laughing and walked out. Because apparently Vince had that type of sense of humor. Like if he liked you, he's gonna shit on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's got some really, really funny stories. Like
I think it's really cool when you see like somebody tell a story where they rib somebody and like it's not necessarily easy to find, and then you find the footage and you're like, holy shit. Like Stone Cold was talking about somebody was ribbing him, but he was, I think it was a European show where he was stuck without his equipment and he had his black stuff, but he was forced to wear like pink braces or elbow pads or something. Yeah. And I think maybe even Undertaker was telling it or something. Or maybe it was on Stone Cold Broken Skull. Amazing podcast as well. He is so... It's crazy to see these legends. Like, yeah, they were good on the mic back then, but it's crazy to see them talking now as regular people. Like, I could listen to Stone Cold talk.
His voice, too. Like, that weird, like, just fucking... Blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
Dude, you do pretty good Stone Cold.
Hey, man. Yeah. What?
Dude.
What?
Nobody got anything over like what?
Dude, what? Dude, to this day, they will still sometimes do it. It's crazy. What?
There's nothing that,
Dude, all the wrestlers hated it. Even he hated it after a while. He's like, I didn't think it was going to get like that. Because nobody, even if he wasn't in the building, could do a promo.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm here tonight. What? Oh,
other promotions do it.
Yeah.
It's the fans. They took off with it. Like, there's things that people do occasionally, but it's like you got to be one-on-one where it's like, what did you say his name was? It doesn't matter what his name is.
Dude.
Like, things like that.
Or the 316 thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard the story of that? Austin 316?
Yeah.
A great one. He's like, he had to go get stitches in his lip from one of the matches, so he had to go to the hospital while Jake the Snake was wrestling. Yeah, and he's like, he says he's about to walk out, and Michael Hayes goes, Jake said something about Jesus. I don't know. Said something about Jesus, John 3:16, whatever. I don't know. Good luck, champ. And he goes out, does his match, and he just on the fly, man. He goes,
John 3:16.
Austin 3:16. Talk about your Psalms. Talk about your John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, "I'm gonna whip your ass."
So good, dude.
Dude, I
just
love
the way he delivers it too, and like.
And the head snap at the end of it. Whip right. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's crazy, too, because, some of this is scripted, but it felt like back then, I don't know.
They were allowed to have a lot more freedom with improv because they're trying to win something. So, like, that's what happened to the
Monday
WWE.
Night Wars.
Right? Yeah. They're trying. They're pushing the envelope. Dude, when they did the...
Even just the side acting was better.
Yeah, when they did the D-Generation X announcement... When they did the press conferences, you remember those? Yeah, and he's like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Yeah. Or I did not sleep with that woman. That's what he said. I did not sleep with that woman.
Yeah.
I was up all night long, dude. And
it's because they had that TBS letter from corporate. And
we're not allowed to say beep, 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 beep. Yeah, dude.
And apparently the next week, TBS loved that.
Yeah, they were like, dude, that's so funny.
And I'm like, how could y'all love that if y'all did the thing that tells them not to do the thing?
It's poking fun at them, I guess. But yeah, but it was that competitive edge. That's what happened. Once they bought out WCW and they knew TNA wasn't going to be a threat, they didn't give a rat's ass, dude.
It bothers me because
the UFC did the same thing happened to the UFC with Pride. Once they bought Pride, and then Strikeforce was growing some steam, you know. I mean, they're not even worried about any of the others.
They're not worried about Ryzen.
Or PFL. Did you hear about their numbers? 10,000 pay-per-view buys for Francis's pay-per-view.
Crazy. I know we're bouncing all over the place, but
they're all
Pride
adjacent.
Pride fell because they bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Dream popped up.
Mm-hmm.
So that took off. But the PFL Bellator thing, the way they're structuring that is... If you could get Neil deGrasse Tyson on that, he couldn't figure it out.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean? So PFL or Bellator is only going to be European now, and like PFL is American. It's like weird the way they're structuring the the companies within.
Yeah, they're trying to do
a
SmackDown and a Raw.
Yeah, so then say it is Bellator Fighting Championship or whatever your name is, and then say PFL is the Monday one.
Yeah.
You know, let us know they're divided. But, like, be very fucking clear. Also, within that, Bellator isn't run like PFL. PFL is a season, points, playoffs.
Bellator's a regular... Like yeah, no.
It's confusing.
But they're also having fights where they'll have a Bellator championship on the line. Like, I'm pretty sure at that Francis one, they had a Bellator title fight. Did they not?
I'm not sure. I watched the Francis fight, but... other than that, it's just
it's a good segue because I'm sure everybody really loves hearing us talk about wrestling. Like WWE.
Dude, I never get to nerd out with anybody about wrestling.
Honestly, me either. Other than Everett, you know what I mean?
And he's not going to be like, "Yo, fucking matches back then, though."
No. Yeah, he's just gonna be like, "Are the Undertaker and the Big Show brothers?"
Yeah.
I'm like, nobody.
Not all big people are the same.
Yeah, no, just the Kane and the Undertaker. Oh,
it's crazy too to think like. During this time, you're not even thinking about it because you're a kid and you're just entertained, period. Like, look at the side acting, his lip quivering.
Yeah.
Just the way he's looking at his mouth.
Dude.
But, what I was going to say before I get off this point is Austin's injured during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So all he can do is talk.
Yeah.
You don't even think about that when you're watching it. You're just like, ooh, if he takes that shirt off or if he it's over.
Yeah.
But you're not even paying attention that he's not really doing anything. He's just talking.
Yeah.
And I think this is when Deborah was the manager for The Undertaker, I think. Could be wrong on that. But they did that to create a storyline.
Yeah, they're tag team champions right now, aren't they? Or is it him and Triple H? I can't remember. This is 01 or 2000? It's 2000 probably.
This is
or
when he's
01.
going against Benoit.
Oh, dude, I love
King
watching
of the Ring.
this.
I
The
can't
story
remember
of.
when this was. But yeah,
Dude,
it's early 2000s.
I love when they crack each other. That's my favorite. When they are able to crack each
when
other.
they break, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
there's sometimes where you'll see like The Rock and Jericho. There's a few of them where they're going back and forth from the ring to the apron or from the ring to the ramp, and they're just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they'll have to turn their face and smile. Randy's really bad at it.
Oh, you know who's the fucking worst is the Uso brothers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they're always like you always see one being like, and it's like they're not even in a funny moment, but I think it's because they're so tight as a brotherhood, like that they. I'll see some of my friends like if me and Hilton are not supposed to be fucking cutting up somewhere.
Them two. Yeah,
the 2-man power trip.
Yeah,
that's what's going on.
They're so funny. Triple H is so funny because he's like
sucks that couldn't go further because he got injured.
Yeah.
Go ahead though.
He's so funny because like all the stories of him is he's like such a mark for himself sometimes, but he's also such a game for the business. Yeah. Right. And
he goes back and forth. It's like fluid with him.
Yeah, where it was like when he lost to somebody because he absolutely would not, or he lost to Shawn. He was supposed to retain the title in the first Elimination Chamber. He was supposed to retain it. Vince came up with the idea of like, hey, maybe we should let Shawn get it. Because you notice Shawn never won another world title when he came back other than that one. Yeah. For the first
But it also was like he's only supposed to have one. They didn't think he could do anymore, and then he's like, "Yo, I can run more."
You're right. And so they it said that Triple H refused to lose to Booker T, Kane, or RVD. And it's like, dude, shut up. Or the one where
the Booker T thing is crazy.
Dude, the Booker T one's crazy. Jericho's crazy. They did not like each other.
Well, it played well though.
Yeah, and Jericho did when they did the thing with Stephanie, and Jericho was like, yeah, you're gonna find because Jericho's a story guy, so he'd put a lot of the storylines he did and was involved in. A lot of them he had a lot to say and do with.
That's when he tore his hamstrings right then.
Yeah,
literally. That's right crazy. Then. We're watching this live like that.
Yeah.
And that's when the 2-man power trip ended.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't
look at him right there. Oh, you can see it rolled up, brother.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh my god.
But they did the storyline with Stephanie McMahon. You were saying.
Yeah, and he was saying, something about Stephanie's cheating on Triple H's character with Jericho, and Triple H was like, that'll never happen.
Yeah, and
my character would never get cheated on.
But they still kind of fucking played with that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I'm like, either play with it or don't. Like, if you're gonna play with it, make it go somewhere. I hate the unfinished storylines that happen. I get it if somebody gets injured, but then
look at that to take the walls on Jericho on a torn quad, and brother.
Well, again, you don't know, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah,
but Triple H knows it.
Yes,
he knows something seriously
wrong. And then that guy, fucking,
that's crazy.
Dude, it makes me so sad because he was so great.
I know.
Like, why couldn't it have been someone like Brodus Clay? Sorry.
Literally, there's like a top 5 walkout songs. Undertaker's in there. The Chris Benoit's walkout, whatever. Dude. Our Lady Peace.
Dude, insane.
Dude, that.
Great, dude.
And then the pause.
Well, you know what's also super impressive is how they'll take these songs from Jim Johnston, which is who they get all their songs, WWE's composer, I mean. And they'll take those and they'll get these other big bands to like incorporate that sound into a custom song. They did it with Saliva, with Batista's, because originally his was just but it started out the same as the Saliva song. I Walk Alone? Yeah. But it started out, his original WWE song had no words to it. And it was a different key, but it was the same dun 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 thing. And Saliva did it, and then Kane, when he first debuted, there was no words, and then
I forget who the band actually was.
Finger 11.
Yep,
Slow Chemical, they did it, and so it was like, oh wow, this really really works.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see that too. But anyway,
I want to talk a little more about that because we talked about this before at last Island Fights. It's crazy how sad the music has gotten. I don't mean like it's somber, but I mean like it's so artificial. It's so untouched.
There's no personality to it.
Yeah, literally Solo Sikoa, like his song right now, sounds to me like the old Bobby Lashley thing.
Yeah.
And that also sounds like the fucking Roman Reigns walkout where it's like, oh
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's they all kind of but
Well, like I said, I
one of
haven't
the
watched
last
I
great-
haven't watched any wrestling in the last 12 years.
terrible.
And so I'm going through the Everett likes to listen to songs, and so I'm going through like I'm like, whose song do you want to listen to, buddy? And he's like, I want to listen to Roman Reigns song, and I play it, and I've never heard it before, and it comes on, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I get exactly what you're saying. It's all generic. It's all like weird. It's just
Also, the whatever you want to call it, the cold opens to SmackDown and Raw used to be fire,
dude. Yeah,
You would be like,
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Hey,
Freddie Prinze Jr. used to be a writer for SmackDown.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Paul Heyman.
You're talking to a fellow wrestling fan, brother.
I'm saying so.
These people don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Hey, talk
sorry,
to them
guys.
when you say shit like that.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying. So
It's
like it
crazy to
shows
think
you that
that.
the writers are just not as
Yeah. I don't understand the concept of that. I understand that
It's getting better from what I hear, though. It's actually from what I hear.
it's
trying to because you can't do a hard shift overnight, but they're starting to introduce some things better and better.
True, you can't do a hard shift overnight, but I think it plays off of how can you stand as a character. The last great person that's new that did great music, in my opinion, is Bray Wyatt. That the very last one, the Code Orange.
Yeah.
Like
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Dun 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 dun, and it builds up, and it's like the song builds up and is like fucking great. Cody Rhodes is cool too, but he's like he kind of had that a little bit as soon as he went on his own,
Right?
And like he added the whole there's two royal families in wrestling or whatever. I think there's some wrestlers that have that like fucking that you think you know me. Like there's a thing, or like the RVD,
one of a kind.
It's those things that
the glass shatter.
I literally was about to do that, and then the Brock Lesnar one.
Yeah, classic.
Dude, there's so many like that, but you cannot name one of them like that now. I think AEW does it way better than WWE does as far as music goes.
Well, I feel like AEW is trying to prove a lot, so they're trying to win every little battle they can. Where the WWE is kind of. I think
they feel more Attitude Era to me.
Yeah.
Like parts of it, some of it you watch and you're like, how the fuck did this make it to TV? How is this the thing?
Yeah.
That made it past. But then some storylines you're like, this is the thing you got going. This is it. This is A.
It sucks because the world we live in, you cannot do any of the storylines that they did in the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era.
The fucking puppy show they would do with the fucking the girls wouldn't even wrestle. They're not even wrestlers.
Now I will say, I am really happy that the women's division.
Talking about now
is
Bianca Belair. It's got to be one of the top wrestlers. Period.
Something I noticed I bought the newest wrestling game for Everett, and I'm trying to do the 40 years of WrestleMania thing to unlock. You got to unlock all this crap so he can have all these people unlocked for Everett and Braxton.
You're like, let Daddy play. I'm trying to get you.
They can't read, brother. They they can, but it's like it's a hard mode. It's hard as shit. So, but they make you do the WrestleMania women matches, and it is fun to see that. Like when I grew up, dude, I hated watching the women wrestle. Like I hated it. It was so annoying.
Really?
Yeah, I hated it.
I didn't feel that way.
I liked the segments.
Yeah.
As a young man, but like watching a match, I was like, it's boring. They're quick. Like they're just real fast. They're sloppy. You see it now because it was all models trying to wrestle.
Yeah.
Fitness models, things like that. Now you've got women that grew up watching those women.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want to do this. And so not only are they trained, but they're athletic.
Yeah.
Like way more athletic than way more athletic.
Way more.
And so like now they tell a believable story. Now they tell a believable story, and you watch something, you're like, okay, they're not missing marks and botching stuff like they were used to. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I never mind watching people like Trish or Lita wrestle because they were kind of that.
The reason why, and I was just about to say that, the reason why I feel like those two stand out above all is because their characters were so different.
Yes.
They were not just another pretty face. Like Trish was like the sportier version, and I get it. Like she was pretty.
Lita
and
was like
everything.
the scene kid.
Yeah, the scene kid, and you also rolled with the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah.
You know, things took a turn, but and you pivoted so well. Like, and I know that was a real story.
Yeah.
But in wrestling, when you're a kid, everything's real. So you're like, this is real. This is real the whole time. To find out later as an adult that it was 100% legit real.
Oh yeah, and
that's crazy,
dude. To find it later on as an adult that it was 100% real, and to have found that out after having experiences similar to what happened, you're like, how the fuck did these guys?
Yeah, and how did Matt
not
keep losing?
How did they not take liberty?
Yeah.
With each other. Like that's the one thing. Like, because I've listened to it, and Matt was like, like now things are squashed. He said, but he never took freedom other than. They threw like harder. They hit each other with punches and slaps a little harder.
Yeah.
You could tell that watching it. But as far as moves and stuff, there was no accidents. Which maybe you're under more pressure because if there is an accident and you've got this history, did you do it on purpose?
It's crazy because, yes, it being so real, but it was also like...
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Matt Hardy was in a relationship with Lita for long-term on and off screen in a real deal thing. He had a knee surgery, and Lita started traveling with one of their good friends, Edge, a blonde, pretty boy with perfect teeth, probably the most perfect teeth I've ever seen in my life.
He was originally part of the Brood, but like him and Christian did it.
Yeah, they have all this history, so they were friends, so they felt safe. Turns out, Edge was fucking her, and Matt found out because she had 2 phones.
Yeah,
Kevin Gates style.
Do you remember when they did back in the day? There used to be
and then they had to work a program together.
It's crazy, and had to play this out live on air. There used to be a call-in show. Lita was on this call-in show. It was a wrestling call-in show.
Oh yeah,
it was this like nerdy older guy kind of thing, and there was people calling to ask about it and like, what's going on with this?
Yeah,
and like, it was really affecting her.
Yeah,
it's a real deal thing.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that, and that was like...
That's why Matt got fired, was because he went online and was posting a bunch of stuff, and so people, like, not necessarily commandeered the show asking only about that, but because Matt got fired because he went online and was like trashing both of them, and they're like, "Yo, you can't do that. This is a secret business." And then Then he got rehired because they were like, wait a second, we can make money off of their misery.
Dude, it's fucking wild. Do you want to get into the fights that happened? Like,
yeah, I mean...
sorry, we're like...
Listen.
We could literally go forever on that.
Yeah, we really could. We could do... Hey, let us know if you want us to do a wrestling-only program.
You know, it'd be sick as if they were, like, asking us to break down WrestleManias. Or, like, pay-per-views.
Oh,
like, break down this specific one.
Yeah. Well, because like I filled my head through so much, like I mean, really, dude. When I finally get some me time, I just sit on the porch. I watch my tablet or play a game. I might play a video game and listen, and I'll listen to. If it's not this, it's MMA. If it's not MMA, it's boxing. If it's not boxing, it's football. But I'll listen to some. If it's not that, it might be nuclear fission or fusion. Like it's just I find these topics that I listen to. Wrestling, me, when I growing up, I had a very childhood, and so I really clung to wrestling. It was kind of like my therapy. I just watched it to escape.
Yeah, wrestling was like movies.
Yeah, it was like it was there for me, and and beautiful, bam. But anyways, so like we could talk about it forever. Is my point? Like I'm very invested, and so I don't ever have anybody to riff with like this.
Yeah,
because like when Logan was working there, I could kind of inform him, and that's fun. Like he has a small question, and then I can just like dump on him. Oh well, this, and then but to know this, you got to know this, and then to know that, you got to know this. But then to bounce it off with somebody is really fun because it's like, I don't have to explain anything.
Yeah,
or
I could get a reference you say, and that you didn't say anything about the Lita thing, and then you were like, oh shit, nobody knows that.
Yeah, exactly. So. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Fucking super similar thing happened with Chris Benoit and his lady. Literally, lady.
The booker booked his own divorce, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about the Tyson Paul thing at first.
Well, I don't know what everybody's so disappointed. Like, the fuck did you expect? Has nobody watched any boxing at all? Do we not watch boxers who box over the age of 40 almost always, you have your exceptions, get knocked out or outclassed. Have we not? How? In what reality do we suspend suspend disbelief enough? You're going to shit on wrestling, but everybody's like, man, Mike Tyson might be able to do it. He's 58 years old. Mike Tyson has never, ever, ever, ever been known as a great boxer. His peekaboo style is very good. His power is insane. But name one boxing match where Tyson had to grit it that he won. Where he had to bite down and go, okay, I can't just brawl this guy out. I've got to sit back and slip punches and name one.
Yeah.
I'll wait. Right? Like Lennox Lewis boxed his fucking face off. Evander Holyfield did. I mean, like, it's just, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
To at least 8 people. But my point is like, first thing to go is reflexes and speed when you age out. That's what everybody's saying about Stipe. Hey, he just looks so slow. He just looks so this. So this guy's 58. Evander Holyfield fought last year or the year before sometime. Who did he fight? Was it
Vitor, I think?
Oh, was it Vitor that he fought?
I'm pretty sure.
Beat the shit out of him.
Beat the brakes off him.
Evander Holyfield's
even older.
Yeah, but Evander is a multi-time world champion. And that shows you how much more boxing. Vitor's not older than Evander. Evander was 60.
No, I'm saying like.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Vitor's old in MMA.
Yeah,
but not as old as...
60 years old in boxing. Yeah.
Like, Vitor, I think, is early 40s.
Yes. And so he boxed Holyfield, and Holyfield did not look good at 60. That's 2 years older than Mike Tyson. And Holyfield is known as a technical boxer. People can use you have your outliers like Bernard Hopkins, who was defending titles at like 51.
Yeah.
Only because of his technical prowess. He wasn't knocking anybody out. Not that I think. Unless, and if it was an accumulation effect. It wasn't, bam, one hitter quitter, which power is the last thing to go. Foreman showed that at 40 something, 45, 44. Excuse me. But I don't know why everybody's so disappointed. At the end of the day, Jake Paul, you could tell in there, was scared at first. And then I honestly, just me watching it, I felt as if he started to feel bad. Like, almost like, oh, fuck. And I feel like he would have been in a worse position had he knocked Tyson out. I feel like he did.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a fix. I'm
tired of everybody looking at every single Jake fight like it is fixed and they're paying these people off. I think something would come out, and I know NDAs would be signed and we would never really hear about it, but like...
I don't think Tyson...
It's not a far thing to think he beat Tyson. It's not that crazy to think.
58 years old, and he's only had one fight in the last 17, 18 years. It's...
And even that was an
exhibition with a fellow aged boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So...
But what I'm saying is everybody's saying, well, it couldn't have happened. Like, he can't beat a legit boxer. Again, yes, very old, but everybody's saying, well, it's always fixed. It can't always be fixed.
No.
Like, I don't think... People saying, like, these people would take falls for money. I think if you're talking about an MMA guy, because he's fought a lot of MMA guys, the egos they have... Well,
that's the people that are saying this...
say, dude, I would fucking beat the shit out of you. If I said that to you, and I was at all serious, or you heard a tinge of seriousness...
Oh, yeah, no, there's no...
You'd be like...
Well, then let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's move the table and let's try it. Yeah.
And I'll be like, shh, don't tell nobody, but I'll give you like $10 million. You take a fall, and you'd be like, yeah, cool. We'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, you don't get to the level that these guys get at, world champions and stuff. They have legacies. They want to be remembered for things. And you think that it's a mindset thing. The people that there are people that would take an ass whipping for $50 million.
I don't think Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley.
Not the guys at that level.
Yeah.
Not the guys at that level.
They wouldn't have got there.
Who already have money.
Yeah.
It's different.
I don't think Anderson Silva is ever going to be worried about money, especially not in Brazil. Like, people are taking care of him like Khabib.
Yes. Yeah.
Nate Diaz, maybe Nate and Nick might have a money problem one day,
But they would never.
They'd be taken care of. They're mob people.
But
you know
that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how much money they need.
Yeah.
Their ego, they are Walter White level ego, where they will not. Absolutely, they would never throw a fight. There's no.
See,
I
don't think that's how you would describe them as far as like ego, because in my thought process, Conor ego. That's ego. That is pure ego.
Yeah,
100%.
But see, Conor would never throw a
Nate
fight.
And Nick don't think ego. They think
street cred
life
or
or
cred.
dead.
Well, they think credit. They're like, I'm a pussy ass bitch, and I go against all my beliefs if I take your money for an L.
I don't think they're thinking of it like how classic people would think of ego. Ego, Conor's pure. Yeah, that's a great example of ego.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
like
vanity and ego.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm so whatever. I think they're a classier version.
That's why Conor won't fight Mike Perry.
Ooh. That I don't know that Conor fights again. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Unless it's somebody that he feels he can just blow out of the water and be like, yo, I'm that man.
Yeah.
You're not that man, because if you were that man, you'd be back already to whoever. Mm-hmm. I even thought that whenever the Chandler thing was announced, I'm like, what the fuck? That's even a duck.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that made sense, and maybe it made sense because fucking Chandler's got an up and down record and he's exciting. But like, a cooler fight would be like a Gaethje fight, because I think Gaethje would beat the shit out of Conor.
Me too.
Maybe he'd piece him up. Maybe Conor would have a really good 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But after that, like, Gaethje, I'll eat this shit.
MMA, boxing, and wrestling, they all like intertwine together because they're all kind of blueprinted out the same. You can't have a superstar if you don't build a superstar. Any man in mixed martial arts can be beat any day of the week.
That's why Bellator and PFL, who cares?
Yeah.
There's no star.
There's no star.
Like, the one star you had, Francis just beat the shit out of. Francis is ex-UFC.
Yeah. And so but you have to build your guys this way. Conor never fought a wrestler except for Chad Mendez, who, I mean, that was a tough test for him. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
But Chad had like a day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, guess what? Tomorrow you're fighting Conor for a belt that you've never won.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's interim, but still, neither one of y'all have ever won it, but Conor's taken first
But
try.
Conor's matchups were very good to get him to where he needed to get. Yeah. He was, in the wrestlers he was matched up against were wrestlers that did not use their wrestling.
Yeah.
So Nate Diaz, I mean, Nate's tough, and Nate can take a beating. So if you get tired, he is dangerous. Other than that, it's an easy fight for any skilled elite fighter.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz is an easy fight. That's my if you're an elite skilled fighter. Now, if you're a journeyman fighter, it's a hard fight. Yeah. If you get tired in fights, it's a hard fight.
Also, they didn't fight at 155.
No.
They fought 170,
and he gets a title shot after.
More Nate.
Yeah.
Than it is Conor.
Yeah.
Like, Conor, I think, could be a really fucking great 155er.
Yes.
And he has in his entire history, like, what is that, King of the Cage or Cage Rage or whatever it is over there? 145, 155 titles.
Mm-hmm.
UFC 145, 155 titles. Like,
yeah. I mean, so you got to build your stars. Yeah. They try to do the same thing with a lot of these guys, and then you'll see them lose, and they're just like, oh fuck, and they're doing the same thing with Pereira, like that. The John Jones is a perfect segue into that. The John Jones Pereira thing doesn't make any sense, and I agree. It makes sense and it doesn't make sense. It makes sense from where John is coming from.
Different sense.
It
makes money sense as far as like you want a big fight, but
it
like
doesn't make
heavy. Like what do you want to really make? Do you want to prove this division is really worth it? Because best case scenario for the UFC is Tom to win and make the heavyweight division great again.
Right.
Because like John's gonna eventually go away.
So my thought process on the whole Tom and the John and the Alex love triangle there is John wants Alex because of prestige. People think he wants Alex because he's the easier fight. I disagree.
I think he wants him for what he's done. He wants to take the shine on his way out.
Well, that, and then it's a legacy money fight.
Yeah.
But Alex, it's like, why would you do that with Alex when you have a superstar in Alex and a loss would affect that? So what? The loss is to John Jones. Why halt the momentum?
Yeah.
Keep him on track of where he's at and have 2 draws in 2 different divisions.
The only catch to that, though, I would say, is if he loses to John, he's only lost to Izzy. and John Jones.
Yes.
Crazy.
Right. But if you don't fight John Jones,
Yeah.
you only lost to Izzy.
But also, if
And
you
cleared out the
fight
division.
and win,
then you beat John Jones.
And
He doesn't beat
Izzy.
John Jones. He doesn't beat John Jones.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah.
crazy, whatever.
I don't think there's a. I don't think.
He-
I
no
believe
matter
in the
if he wins
multiverse
or
theory.
loses.
I believe in the multiverse theory. I don't believe there's a motherfucking universe that he
Yeah.
defeats John Jones. John Jones takes him down.
Look, this is, I think, and of course nobody knows MMA math. It just doesn't add up.
No.
Tom can beat John. John can beat Tom.
Yeah, I think John beats Tom.
It's very possible. I don't know, for whatever reason I'm feeling, I think Tom has seen the holes in what Stipe tried to do and couldn't do. Tom is better in every single aspect that could work against John. Because Stipe didn't crowd John. But
He tried.
anytime he came forward...
He did. He tried in the very first round.
Yes, but anytime he
nervous.
did, John had to run.
Yes.
He was like, no, I'm not fucking with that at all.
Yeah.
Tom is not going to run out of that gas tank like Stipe did. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So John is going to have pressure put on him. If it goes to the ground, I think Tom is going to be stronger than John on the ground.
I think that John is a better wrestler, and I don't think the strength is going to matter as much.
Maybe, but what happens if Tom clips John?
Now,
It goes to the ground,
so
John's
that,
on top, or Tom's on top.
now that we don't know.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Ground and pound, I bet you he fucks him up.
So, but
We've never seen it really like that.
We've never seen John Jones on his back.
Not really. There's been a few fights.
Cormier but it was springing right back up.
Gustafsson.
Cormier and Gustafsson, but it was right up. Like as soon as he hit the ground, boom, he's up.
Yeah, and we've never really seen John wobbled.
No.
You've seen him knocked like where he's running,
Right.
and he's like, "Oh, I gotta get away."
John
but
sparred with heavyweights his whole career. He sparred with Alistair Overeem, who is a known gym bully, tries to hurt people. I mean, he sparred with big motherfuckers. Richard White, which is a guy that's fought on Island Fights, but that dude's huge. Sean McCorkle, Sean McCorkle's not like the greatest fighter ever, but that was a big guy, and like plus way better names. He's Gable Stevenson he's training with for wrestling, and Gordon Ryan, and I don't believe in my heart that. So if these are my keys to victory for John. John has to fight him soon, because in my analysis of what I saw was the first round John was really rusty. He was taking a second. He ran. The second round, the first half of the second round, he started to feel loose. He was picking up steam, and he was getting better back to that old John. Yeah. And that's why in the third round he felt comfortable enough to throw the turning sidekick, is because he started looking like old John in the third round. He warmed up.
Yeah.
Digging those toe kicks to the body, the oblique kicks that he didn't throw against Stipe, but I know he would throw against Aspinall, especially with the knee history.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, it's the range. You know, Aspinall's a big guy and he's very strong, but I really think Aspinall has a chance, of course, to clip John. So I just think, if I'm thinking X's and O's wise, I really think that John would beat him. I think part of me believes that it's a ploy to get this to be one of the biggest fights ever. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to fight Aspinall. I'll just give him the title. But then also part of me feels like I understand John. John has been.
I don't think it's a ploy. I think it's going to eventually look like it was.
Yeah.
But I think John is being honest right now. I think he's no, fuck that.
But I understand. He has fought every single contender that they have put in front of him every single time. And you say what you want about the guy outside of the cage. It's not what we're disputing right now. We're disputing inside the cage work. Every single contender that has been put in front of him, he has fought. Some of them are questionable, but he has fought. And he's on the back end of his career where he's gotten to watch Michael Bisping get money fights and dodge champions. He's gotten to watch Conor get money fights. He's gotten to watch Jake Paul. But I'm talking about in the UFC.
Yeah, I know, but he's even brought up...
He's watched Izzy be able to go get money fights and chase greatness. So why does he have to win the world title?
Yeah.
And then, I've got to be accountable and fight the number one contender? Why can't I chase the money fight? Stipe's the greatest heavyweight champion ever. I want to fight him and beat him. The fight was announced. They started training. There's an injury. It's delayed a year. That sucks. And it's stupid, but who fucking cares? At the end of the day, in my opinion... Tom fights him and he halts Tom. He beats Tom and then retires, and then Tom becomes a champ. It's fake. It feels like a fake champ. You can always have that. What if?
Yeah, but that's worst case scenario for the UFC.
Yeah.
If John wins and then doesn't defend it again or whatever, your best guy left is going. Tom wins that belt again.
Yeah, for sure.
And then what? That looks like shit. The UFC secretly has gotta fucking hope Tom wins. Because if Tom wins, the heavyweight, it's like now we gotta find a contender for this guy because he's so fucking good. Then the Alex Tom fight might look good. I still think Tom would win that fight too. And then you're like, Tom might be greatest of all time. And like that would be talked about. I'm not saying that's true because literally nobody's ever going to beat John's resume. That resume is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean...
Nobody. There's not a better... Even Anderson Silva's didn't look that good. It didn't look on John's good.
No.
There's some great contenders he beat, but it's like...
People are really like on that they've got to nitpick everybody's record because they're talking about like because that's my argument is like, dude, he's beating legends as he was coming up. They're like, yeah, on the back end of their career. I'm like, some of those guys won titles after John beat them.
Yeah.
So like Glover, Daniel, he went up and won the heavyweight title. Got knocked out by John, went up and won the heavyweight title.
And can you name who could rival that record? I know a guy that
George St. Pierre.
Yes,
BJ
that's
Penn,
another one.
Matt Hughes, Carlos Condit's fucking, I mean, he may not have been world champion in the UFC, but
GSP is for sure.
Yeah.
The only other guy I think is on those two people's level is Max Holloway.
Max Holloway
His
and Randy
record,
Couture.
I mean, other than losing to
Okay.
that's true.
Yeah.
Other than losing to Alexander so many times, his record is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like Aldo, twice?
Aldo twice. I mean, Aldo's got a great record, but even then, yeah.
I mean,
Aldo twice.
He did lose to a lot of really good people like Dustin, Connor, Alexander. But you're talking about the creme de la creme of the people that you've ever lost to.
Losses. I mean, losses. I don't know. Losses are kind of tricky in MMA, really in general.
If I were to book Max for the rest of his career, the only two fights I would want to see you for the rest of your career, get a Conor win, because I want you to win against Conor because, like, really humble Conor. Like, yes, he's lost a lot lately, but it's like, beat him and be like, dude, you could have been me. Mm-hmm. You fucked that up. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're richer than me, but like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The thing you want most, you ran away from, and then I would want to see the Dustin fight again.
How many times, though, does your goal start out of like, I want to be the best fighter in the world, and then $100 million lands in your bank account? And you're like, you know what? I'm kind of okay with being. But here's the thing too.
But it doesn't. He's not satisfied. You can tell. Like,
well, he's also an
addict.
addict.
To chirp because
he's an addict. You can also see that, and I'm not even trying to be mean or judgy, but you can see that
and his first addiction had to be fighting.
Yeah.
And probably then girls and then money and coke and all that.
Yeah. Which it all comes.
Did you see Chuck at...
Dude.
Oh my God, dude. I was like, those dentures are going to fall out.
Bro, someone said he's called the Iceman for a reason.
Yeah, maybe he got that title way early.
Dude.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was rough. Poor guy.
I mean, how many times we've seen that, though?
Yeah.
He does that a lot.
Yeah.
Where he'll just be live on air just...
geeked out, dude. Yeah.
It's like that must be his thing. That combination of watching live fights and being coked out bad, brother. He's got to be a mess to. He's got to be Diego Sanchez level mess to deal with.
Yeah, you do feel bad because you wonder sometimes about some of these guys.
Yeah, and you're like, who's really taking care of you in life?
Yeah.
Like, did you ever watch the documentary?
Chuck Fightville.
Not Chuck. Fightville, but what is it called? The Hammer.
Oh yeah, with Mark.
Yeah, Mark. No,
Smashing Machine with
Smashing Machine.
Kerr.
Yeah, and then you're like, he did have that lady that really loved him, but they didn't stay together the whole time, and then they came back together. But it's like,
well, that happened with Rich Piana.
Oh, dude, that's fucking crazy. That video of him like
dying.
Yeah,
almost,
basically.
Yeah.
He's just like kind of having like a seizure or like a fucking cardiac arrest or whatever that was, and he's like, "No, baby, it's fine," and he's just like, fucking wild.
Yeah.
And no, he dies after that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
It's like there's a lot of morbid things that you didn't know were morbid in the moment. Like, I mean, watching some of the final matches of somebody where you're like, oh, dude, he's in healthy, great shape. And then it's like,
dude, Eddie
gone.
Guerrero wrestling, Ken Kennedy, and Ken Kennedy does the thing where he does slams the chair, throws it to Ken, and Ken gets disqualified and slams him in the head with the chair, and he's dead like 2 days later.
Crazy.
Heart attack.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's crazy to watch people that you're like, damn, these guys aren't here anymore. And then it's also crazy, like this particular one where you're watching it, you're like, damn, not only is that guy not here anymore, he did something so bad that they don't want you to know that he was a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because
2 of them people.
Yeah. 2 of them people. Jeez, that's terrible, you know?
Yeah. And
Also,
it's Jesus Christ,
also
dude,
though,
crazy.
like, are any of us surprised if you've watched the World Wrestling Federation's product within the last 30 years? You're not surprised at all that Vince has any of these accusations. He kind of has been putting it out on TV.
I mean, how is it not more rampant?
Not only that, yeah. I mean, I'm not justifying or condoning what he did at all. I'm against all of that, but I'm just saying, how do you have the level of fame, fortune, and power that guy has, and do not go in fucking sane with it?
I mean, one, you literally are the owner of a wrestling.
You're the owner of a worldwide wrestling. You're the owner of a worldwide traveling carnival.
And you're saying you're not going to be a little
cuckoo?
Yeah, fast and loose with your fucking decision making.
Dude, some of them Bruce Pritchard stories are crazy. It's nothing like explicit like what he's going through, but it's like racing or some of the things that's happened with him and
it's just wild. Like, this is just the stuff we know.
Yeah.
Imagine the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. That they're like, hey, yo, this can't leave this moment ever.
I also imagine that Vince is not the worst of them.
Oh,
not wrestlers. I mean CEOs. Like Vince is not like the Wolf of Wall Street showed us what really goes down. Jordan Belfort was like, yeah. I mean the movie, but like if you read his book or talk to him, like it was. Ugh.
I can't remember the guy that owned Hustler.
I don't know him.
I mean, some of the stories that you see on
those stories from what's insane is that Hugh Hefner's never like I'm sure he's been accused before. I mean, you can't be in that business and not be, but it's surprised that things don't come out about him.
I'm sure now it's like letting
he's dead,
laying dogs rest or whatever.
Yeah.
You just it already happened, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Maybe you can sue the estate at that point, but
that's where people are. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some wild things out there that
I'm hoping that Triple H can. So Vince, I thought.
Triple H has done nothing but improve the product.
I feel as
far as that goes, storyline is definitely better, but I mean, there's still a lot of cheesy wrestling going on.
I feel like, it's going to take time. He just got it this year. Or last year.
He got it before the last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So he got it at WrestleMania 39. 40 just ended. So, I mean, he got it like a month before 39.
Yeah.
So you had a full year of his product, and now we're going into the second full year. But, there's still a lot of wrestlers that aren't getting the shine that...
So what's the deal with the African-American wrestlers? So that's the thing, right? Have you heard about that?
What do you mean, never being champion?
Well, something about since they said since Triple H that no pay-per-view matches or anything.
I don't know.
But I think is it and here's the thing, because sometimes
it's not up to you to be compelling. I mean, it's up to you to be
compelling.
I didn't mean to say it like
that. But it's not. It's up to you to be compelling.
Yeah.
And so, is it a race thing, or is it just completely circumstance at the fact that those characters, because Bobby Lashley's never been an interesting character.
True. I think
Booker T was an amazing character. I loved Booker T.
But I think both of those things can be true. Kofi Kingston, I still think, is a great character. I think they do too much to fuck with it. Big E, to me, should have been a multiple-time world champion.
Yes.
I loved his character because it's so pure, but then he also gets down when he wrestles. There's something so mobile about him being a big guy, and he's not a tall guy, but he is a big fucking guy.
It sucks, too, because,
he got injured. Yeah, that's...
It sucks, too, because, I remember watching, what's that dude's name? Xavier Woods. He was in it. I remember watching him as Consequences Creed in TNA. This is a fucking throwback, son. Yeah, he would come out in like the Paulo Creed shorts and stuff, like, and with a big afro.
Yeah.
He was consequent, but he was a very good wrestler, very good.
I mean, he's a great character.
Yeah.
Then 3 together, that's such a genius idea.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that it's not still a thing, and I know Big E is hurt, but Big E could be like a manager type.
Yeah,
like still make it a thing, and then make him do like occasional things, but not big bumps. You know.
Right.
Be a Paul Heyman type guy. I don't know. It's I think it could be like a consequence, or both can be true at the same time. I think yes, you have to be compelling, but also you have to be able to give those characters time to breathe and let them be more real to what they want to do, and see if that works. And if it doesn't, I don't think the characters they're making work great most of the time.
But also, just historically, I mean, I can't really name a whole lot of African American champions in the WWE.
I mean, that is true, but
it doesn't make it right. I'm just saying it's not like it's Triple H is all I'm saying.
I don't think there's a person holding them down. I think it has to be an interest. It's just like there's not a lot of female scientists.
Yeah.
It's like or female construction workers. You gotta have an interest. You gotta have them people be interested in doing that fucking at all anyways.
Right.
And then you have to have them be willing to do the long fucking road. It doesn't matter the race. I mean, Eddie Guerrero was not a white guy.
No.
He went his whole China was a fucking bodybuilder woman, like with a weird voice and look, and like she went the whole way. She wasn't just a female wrestler.
But you got guys that have it like Mark Henry.
Yeah.
I liked Mark Henry. I hated him sometimes. I liked him sometimes. He did the Hall of Pain thing. That was really freaking cool.
I'm trying to think of who else. There was like, I mean, there's people, perfect examples of like characters not working out and then working the fuck out. Batista couldn't be one of the better examples ever.
Yeah.
He came out as like
the Deacon.
Yeah. And like, what the fuck was that? And then look at what he did with his career.
He did that, and they did that simply because they were trying to get Devon to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Which,
also love Devon.
Dude, one of the best.
The Dudley brothers in general, like the whole like thing, I like better when they're the Dudley brothers.
Yeah, for sure.
Or the Dudley boys than whenever they're doing their own things kind of thing.
For sure.
Because it's like, I don't really like the whole TNA mob fucking biker gang thing that was
trying to be the NWO.
It was
I mean, that was
yeah, it's like also he does play rough. He's kind of like a Samoan Joe type Bubba, but it's like, I don't know, I liked it when you were the Dudley boys. There was a comedic value, but there's also a seriousness. Y'all played off each other real well.
It was the chemistry was just there.
Softer.
Yeah.
Not that he was an easy wrestler, but it was like he was the softer personality.
He was the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Between the team. Yeah, you find that sometimes the best, like sometimes you'll have guys.
I mean, The Rock, he's black, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or Samoan.
He's Samoan and black. His dad's black.
There you go. Like the biggest wrestler, one of the biggest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, but your argument there would be he's not
compelling.
He's not completely black, so therefore.
There you go.
You know. No,
it's
I
tough.
mean it just tells you the state of America and wrestling fans.
NXT has a lot of great black wrestlers, and a majority of them run NXT. Yeah. Like Trick Williams is like their champion right now, and the dude, not Carmelo, but he's like Mello or something. He was the dude that was with Trick, and then he's in WWE now. They're not utilizing him to the best of his ability. I don't think they know how to transition from NXT to WWE unless it's like an old name like Braun Breaker,
right?
Because he comes from a family.
Yeah,
that's not fair. Charlotte Flair, NXT champion, came up. Rhea Ripley, that's a good example of somebody that wasn't anybody and then became like the number one woman right now.
Yeah.
What did they call him at first? Something black. But it's Seth.
I'm not sure. I don't follow the new product, so I don't know. I haven't watched any NXT.
Seth Rollins, but I can't remember what his original name was. But he came out of NXT. He was like the first NXT champion ever.
Yeah, and
Like
Dean
he
Ambrose.
is he basically and they became the Shield. But like Seth freaking Rollins is like, to me, our age version of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
But I don't think they use the character correctly right now. I liked it when he was, the Beast Slayer.
yeah.
Like, or when he first came out and he was blonde black.
Yes.
And he had just broke from the Shield. That to me was because he played corporate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like he's the heel, but there was something to it that was nice.
He was. That was kind of a very of a.
Kind of felt like The Rock.
The Rock.
They did The Rock early.
I was going to say, yeah.
I don't know. But is there anything else you want to cover before we get out of here?
Oh, dude, it doesn't matter to me, man. We can, we pretty much talked for however many hours about wrestling.
It's been an hour 45.
Oh, so that's not that bad, you know? I mean, I don't know.
Is there anything you're excited about coming up as far as, like, in the UFC matchups to look out for? What do you think about this fucking Shavkat Ian Gary fight?
Oh, I think Shavkat's going to beat him.
I think it's a little too early for Ian right now.
Yeah, I don't...
Like, for that. And then it's weird that they did Covington and Joaquin Buckley. Like, it should have been Covington versus
Gary,
Ian.
Yeah.
Because I think Ian would have won that. Because it feels like Covington's on his way out.
I don't think they like Joaquin.
Yeah. I think that Joaquin might lose that fight because of just the output that Covington can do. But then it's like, either way, I don't think they cared for either one to win. They're like, whatever, just have this.
Yeah.
Y'all aren't ever going to do anything, probably in their eyes.
It's such an unforgiving sport. Both, I mean, really anything like that. Yeah. I think Shavkat wins for sure. I think he finishes him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think...
Do you think he's the next champion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, at 85? Is that what he's at? Or is that 70? That's 70?
70.
And, yeah. Bilal's way better than people think. He's just a decision guy.
Yeah.
But that fight is going to be either really, really interesting or really boring.
See, what's crazy is the match that could happen after that. If Hamzat makes it, and...
Oh, Hamzat's at 85 now.
Oh, that's right. Damn it. That would have been a sick fight.
Yeah.
That
If
would have been a sick fight.
Dude, I don't know. Who did he just fought who? Whitaker and broke his shit?
Broke it in.
Dude, I feel like...
That's crazy.
I feel like DDP is going to lose to Hamzat. I feel like DDP lost to Izzy. What, isn't that who he fought last?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I...
See,
Did he knock him out?
Yeah, he took him out in the third round.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah. I think if Hamzat can get him down, and he doesn't have some weird gas tank issue where he blows his fucking load real early.
Yeah.
Because he did that against Usman and made it look way closer than it should have been.
Yeah, but also Usman's is a really good wrestler, so he probably had, but I don't know. I don't know.
It'll be an interesting next few months.
I don't like DDP.
Yeah, I don't love him either.
I hate that he goes by DDP. It's not you. It's not you. It's not DDP. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Diamond Dallas Page, baby.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get out of here, but I'm going to shout out a sponsor. I don't know if you care to sign the wall again. We're going to be half of the fucking names up there.
Dude, I'm saying.
But before we get out of here, is there anything you want to promote or shout out or got anything coming up? Maybe a possible return or another kid on the way or something?
No, I mean, I don't know. No more kids. That's no more kids. 5 is my cutoff.
All right, we're gonna clip this when you have another one.
Yeah, no more kids. So I had another kid, man. It's crazy. No,
what?
What? No, I mean, I do want to fight again, dude. I can't.
You look good.
Thanks, appreciate it. It's right now. I'm just kind of weighing my options. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I feel like I could take a few boxing matches and do really decent, but I don't have the longevity to take 15 boxing matches to go really do anything in the sport of boxing. My body's not healthy enough for the demand of MMA as far as the grappling and the kicking and all that stuff. And, I've really considered maybe doing some game bred fights where I could possibly, in game bred, the bare knuckle aspect is such a variable that you could go in there and not have to worry about a full length MMA fight, very possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. When you watch the bare knuckle fights, even though it's bare knuckle, a lot of these guys still just throw punches instead of kicks and stuff. So I don't know.
Are there any names in there that you would be interested? Javanis looks a little bigger.
Dude, Javanis looked great.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I watched it. He looked really good. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'd love to have that rematch if they wanted to do that. That would be a really, really tough, good fight. Yeah. But at the moment, it's more about whatever I can get some money for, because I still love to fight. So that's like my point is I'm fighting for money because I want money and I need money, but I'm not. It's not like the Tyson thing where I'm in taxes or anything. It's just I love fighting. I don't want to give up fighting. It sucks going in the gym and training and not having that thing. And then I want to keep my name relevant. As vain as that is, I want to keep my name relevant, and I feel like fighting is what people know me for, and I love to do it. So I don't know. I'd like to do it a couple more times if I could, but I just don't know, and I'm not going to force anything. We'll do it when the time's right, when I feel like it's right. So we shall see.
Well, we fucking hope to see.
Yeah, I hope so.
That'd be dope, and it'd be dope now that we're so much closer than we were the last time you fought.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to be, I don't know, ringside or to see you live fight again, it'd be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had decent fights, and people love to watch it. I have people ask me all the time about, when are you going to fight again? When are you going to fight again? That's the most question I get asked if I go out in public and people recognize me more than anything else. So, I mean, I would like to give them that, but like I said, I don't know. The door, I'm not going to say no because the door's never closed. I'm only 30. Even if I took another 2 years off and didn't fight for 5 years, I'd only be 32. Like I said, I'm obviously not going for the longevity of it. I want to get my body good and healthy and ready, and then, fight a couple times, make some quick cash, and put it in the piggy bank.
Well, if you decide to go back to the ring and you get like some crazy fucking fight and you get a lot of money and you want to get some tattoos, I know a fucking guy, Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio. I know you're talking about all the space on your arm. Dude, he can fill that up. He does that. Like, he does tattoos.
I know.
Like, he can fill that out, and he can show how scary the ocean really is, because it's way scarier than space.
Yes.
But it's also, like, space is also scary. Not saying it's not. But Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studios can fucking make that look mint condition, like, for your next pro fight. I don't know.
I would love to.
Maybe you go on a fucking string of fights, and maybe all of a sudden you have fucking dope sleeves.
I would love that.
Maybe he can incorporate that scar into like some fucking some shit or something.
Hopefully not shit, but
Yeah, no, I mean he can make it look like
a sword.
A sword cut you, and he's like, oh shit. But Johnny Mumbles is the guy. Hit them up on Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio on Instagram. You can see all the portfolio on that, or you can go to Johnny Mumbles on Instagram and check out his shit there. Amazing stuff. Constantly dropping new work. And it's like some of the best shit you'll ever see, ever. Like the stuff that he's done on Hilton. Like he's filling out his sleeve a little bit, and he's going to finish it here pretty soon. But dude, it looks crazy. And he's doing my back, and I'll show that when it's finished. I don't want to show it like in the process, but I'll show pictures afterwards of the process. But dude, hurts, but it's gonna look great forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to last. But before we get out of here, I just want to say thank you again for coming on, and I mean being the guy that we can lean on anytime we need a guest.
That's what I'm here for, man.
And the most reoccurring guest of all time.
Yeah, it says ×5 over there. I guess we're gonna have to. I should have put tally marks. Huh?
I can't believe it's only 5.
It's not. It's 6 now.
I know, but it seems like it's been more than that.
Eat your heart out, Cam. I'll be back next week.
I mean, Cam is crying in the DMs right now. He cannot believe that. And he's really going to hate how we started the podcast.
Oh, I know. That's why I did it intentionally. You ended. Hey, listen. I had to wait till the end.
Yeah.
I gave him right off. He's the curtain jerker. There you go. He did excellent in his fight, too. I'm very proud of him.
Oh, yeah. pro debut, 1-0, undefeated professional fighter.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
You can't take that away from him unless you're his next opponent and you beat him. But hope he's undefeated for life.
Yes, we're not going to manifest that.
Yeah, not at all. No, I think he's going to do amazing.
No, he's awesome, dude. I'm so proud of him. I mean, it's like...
Regardless of fighting, he's won.
Yeah.
You know, because he is such a great and pure person.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. But we're going to get out of here. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Of course.
Co-host, love you guys. We're out.
Mwah.